Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Teruvan Saranai. Good evening, Venerable Mahāsangha, Sires, and dear brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today we are going to talk on a new triplet, UppannaTika, Arisen triplet. First, we will look at the three terms of UppannaTika, Arisen triplet. Uppanna Dhamma, states that have arisen. Anuppanna Dhamma, states that have not arisen. Uppādino Dhamma, states that are bound to arise. So we'll start with the first term, Uppanna Dhamma, the summary section, Nikkepa description. Katame Dhamma Uppanna, which are the states that have arisen? Ye Dhamma, Jata, Bhuta, Sanjata, Nibbatta, Abhinibbatta, Phatubhuta, Uppanna, Samuppanna, Uttita, Samuttita, Uppanna, Uppannaṅsena Saṅgahita. Now, the same term is described using multiple words. Those states that have been born, have become, have been gotten, created, recreated, made manifest, that have arisen, have come to pass, happened or occurred, have happened, have supervened, have been caused to arise. So Lord Buddha has described the exact same thing using multiple words. Now, why is that? Now, those days in ancient India, there were several states, and it's a very large country, and as a result, the language was also very diverse. There were several dialects. So for that reason, the same thing was denoted using multiple terms. And if only one meaning or two meanings were given, some people would not have understood the meaning of this word. So it's like when you're trying to explain something to someone, one person may understand it when it's described in a certain manner, and another person may not understand it. So that person would require different sort of explanation. So similarly, here the word Uppanna is described using multiple words that have the same meaning. So what are these states that have arisen? Rupam, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. This is the khandha, the five aggregates. Matter, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Ime Dhamma, Uppanna. These are the states that have arisen. Now the Atthasālinī gives this description. In the triplet of arisen, this word means uprisen or happened, having reached a state from the nascent up till the sessent instant. Now, what does this mean? Now, we know that if you're talking about the chitta, cetasika or rupa, now we are talking about the panchakanda, rupa, vedana, sanya, sankara, and vijnana. So these dhammas have a upada, a moment that which it arises. It has a titi, the persisting period, and bhanga, the cessant instant. So here what we are talking about is what has already arisen. So something that the upada has already occurred and now it is persisting. So the persisting state. So that is the present moment. So in this present moment, anything could be in existence, any of the 89 chittas, any of the 52 chetasikas and the 28 rupas. But here we are not going to take dhammas such as nibbana, because nibbana is not a dhamma that has upada, titi and bhanga instances. It has no arising or passing away. So we are taking only the dhammas that arise, persist, and pass away. So here we are talking about the things that are persisting, right? Now, if we take the instance where it ceases, the bhanga, so once it reaches bhanga, then it no longer exists. Then it becomes a past object. It becomes a past dhamma. So here we are not talking about something that has passed away. We're talking about the things that are presently there in this present moment. Now in the Atthasālinī, there is this description, again talking about each and every term, like jata, bhuta, sanjata, and in certain instances how the meaning of the term is increased by using prepositions like abhi or sang. Now I'm not going to describe this in detail. You can read this leisurely, it's quite clear. So I'm not going to go into the details of it now. Now coming to the analytical states of Uppanna Dhamma, states that have arisen, we get the 89 chitta, consciousness, 52 cetasika, mental factors, and 28 rupa, matter. Those are in the Pachuppanna, the present state. Now we move on to the second term, Anuppanna Dhamma, states that have not arisen. And this is the Nikkepa Khandha in the summary section description. Katame Dhamma Anuppanna, which are the states that have not arisen. Now again, we are seeing multiple terms here. Ye Dhamma Ajata, Abhuta, Asanjata, Anibbatta, Anabhinibbatta, Apatubhuta, Anuppanna, Asamuppanna, Anuttita, Asamuttita, Anuppanna, Uppannānsena Saṅgahita. Now again, this is the exact opposite of what we mentioned under Uppanna. Now under Uppanna, if you remove the A's from each of these words, you get Uppanna. So the prefix A negates the meaning of the term. So jata means born, ajata means unborn. So we get the exact opposite meaning. So here we are talking about the states that are unborn, have not become, have not been gotten, nor created, nor recreated, nor made manifest, that have not arisen, nor come to pass, nor happened, nor supervened, that have not been caused to arise, that are classed together among the things that have not arisen. So what are these? These dhammas are rupam, vedana, sanya, sankhara, vijnana. Matter, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Again, we are talking about the 5 aggregates here. And as I mentioned before, under Uppanna Dhamma, multiple terms have been used to describe the same thing because different people, due to changes in the dialect, the language, or differences in their intellect, they would understand it differently. So these 5 aggregates which have not arisen, ime dhamma anuppanna, these are the states that have not arisen. Now again, the Atthasālinī gives a description. Not arisen, Anuppanna, means not yet appeared. The exposition in the second reply of not arisen, Anuppanna, should be understood as negating of the foregoing, Uppanna Dhamma. So here we are talking about the opposite meaning of Uppanna. Uppanna means arisen, something that has arisen, and Anuppanna means something that has not arisen. Now we come to the analytical states of Anuppanna Dhamma, states that have not arisen. Now I want you to look very carefully at this because there is a very subtle difference between Uppanna Dhamma and Anuppanna Dhamma. And now let's look at what this difference is. So here under Anuppanna Dhamma, what we are classifying are the 21 kusala, wholesome chitta, 12 akusala, unwholesome chitta, 20 kriya, functional chitta, 52 chetasika, mental factors. Now here you may notice one category is missing, vipaka. The resultants are not here. But under Uppanna Dhamma, we spoke of the resultants. We spoke of all 89 chitta. But here under Anupanna, keep in mind that the vipaka is not included in this section. Then rupa. We said 28 rupa when it came to Uppanna Dhamma. But here we are sub-classifying the rupa as 17 chittaja, consciousness-born rupa, matter, 15 utuja rupa, temperature-born matter, and 14 aharaja rupa, nutriment-born matter. Now, why did we break it down? It's because, again, one type of rupa is missing. Those are the 20 kammaja rupa, the karma-born matter. Now, we will come to the explanation why these are not classified here. But for now, I want you to remember that under Uppanna Dhamma, we classified all 89 chitta, 52 chetasika, and 28 rupa. However, under Anuppanna Dhamma, we have not included the vipaka, the corresponding chetasika that arise together with the vipaka, as well as the kammaja rupa. We now come to the final term, Uppādino Dhamma, states that are bound to arise. And this is the summary section or the Nikkepa description. Katame Dhamma Uppādino, which are the states that are bound to arise. Kusala Kusalanang Dhammanang, Avipakka Vipakānang Vipaka, Kāmāvachara, Rūpāvachara, Arūpāvachara, Aparyapanna. So here we are talking about the results of kusala kusalana. Here kusala kusalana means kusala akusalana. The two words have been combined to make the word kusala kusalana. So the results of the kusala and akusala, wholesome and unwholesome states, related to all four spheres. Kāmāvachara, sense sphere, Rūpāvachara, fine material, Arūpāvachara, immaterial, and Aparyapanna, the supramanda, unincluded spheres. But something is special here. Avipakka vipakāna, the consequences of which are not yet matured. So the kusala and akusala states, the resultants of the kusala and akusala states are mentioned here, but those that have not yet matured, those that are waiting to arise in future. So what are these? Vedanakkhando, Sanyakkhando, Sankarakkkhando, Vijñānakkkhando, the four aggregates. And also, there's another part here. Yancha rūpaṁ kammassa katattha uppajjissati. And the matter due to karma having been wrought, which will arise. So now again, the kammassa katattha rūpa, the kammaja rūpa have not arisen as of yet, but which will arise in future due to the kusala and akusala karma that have been done. Ime Dhamma Uppādino. These are the states that are bound to arise. So if a karma is performed, then the resultants, the results of it, either the vipaka chitta chetasika or the kammaja rūpa, they will arise in future. Now, there are some instances where it will happen immediately after. We'll talk about that later, but let's just take it. If it's to arise in future, then it has not happened yet. That is why we are talking in the future tense here. So, Uppādino Dhamma will classify the vipakas, the concurrent, the mental factors, as well as the kammaja rūpa. Ime Dhamma Uppādino. These are the states that are bound to arise. The Atthasālinī description states bound to arise refers to states which will inevitably arise as part of a completed course. Now, what does this mean? Now, we said that Uppādino Dhamma refers to vipaka, the resultants and their associated mental factors, and the kammaja rupa. So, why do these vipaka and kammaja rupa arise? They arise because of kamma, because of kusala and akusala. So, here, the completed course refers to the kamma, whether it's kusala or akusala, whichever. The cause is the kamma, and the states that are bound to arise as a result of that kamma are the Uppādino Dhamma. Now, there's a further description in the Atthasālinī. Let's look at that. And this triplet has been shown to be complete by virtue of the 2 times, present and future. Indeed, the ripening of karma, which has got its opportunities twofold. That which has reached the moment and that which has not. Okay, let's talk about this. Now, if you remember, we spoke about 3 terms now, Uppanna Dhamma, Anupanna Dhamma, and Uppādino Dhamma. And under Uppanna Dhamma, we spoke about all the chittas, 89, including the vipaka chitta. So, vipakas are classified basically under Uppanna Dhamma as well as Uppādino Dhamma. And we specifically mentioned that under Anupanna Dhamma, we don't get the, vipaka chitta. But here, we are talking about present and future. Then how come vipaka are not classified under Anupanna Dhamma? Because Anupanna Dhamma are states that are going to arise, which have not arisen yet, but will arise later on in the future. So this is because of the cause and effect relationship. Now, if a karma is performed, that karma gives rise to a certain energy. And that energy is what brings about a future vipaka or kammaja rupa. Now, when it comes to these vipaka, some vipakas, now during our lifetime, we keep getting these vipakas. So, for example, now, if you're looking at something, if you see something nice, if you see a beautiful, bouquet or a stupa, these are vipaka chittas. The chakku viññāna chitta is a vipaka chitta. So likewise, those are chittas that those are the chittas that have ripened. They have reached the moment and they have arisen. And at the same time, we have past karmas of which the energy of it has not ripened yet. So it is bound to arise in future. And that is why we say that the resultants of these karma are twofold, present and future. Those that have arisen now and those that are going to arise in the future. But why don't we call it Anuppanna? When it comes to Anupanna Dhamma, these Dhammas may or may not arise. There is no cause and effect relationship there. But the Uppādino Dhamma, the vipaka chittas and the kammaja rupas, there is a cause and effect relationship. If the cause is generated, then the results are bound to happen in future. So that energy is existing. So whether it occurs in the next moment, immediately after the mind moment, or whether it occurs after the expiration of 100,000 years or many eons, regardless, that causal relationship is what we are considering under this term. So that is why we don't call the vipaka chitta cetasika as well as the kammajirupa as anuppanna. Rather than calling them anuppanna, we are giving them a special name, and that is Uppādino Dhamma, because of this causal relationship. Right, now we will discuss this Uppādino Dhamma further. So we mentioned that if a kusala or akusala is generated, then as a result of those kamma, there will be resultants, vipaka chitta cetasika and kammajirupa, that will arise later on. So now we will talk about this special instance where we get vipaka arising immediately afterwards, very soon, rather than several eons or several years later. Now, if you remember, we spoke about a tika called Tika. And under Tika, we spoke of Michattaniyata Dhamma, Sammattaniyata Dhamma, and Anyata Dhamma, 3 terms. We'll first take Michattaniyata Dhamma. Michattaniyata Dhamma are the states where, as a result of unwholesome, akusala kamma. And what are these akusala kamma? The pancha anantariya kamma, the 5 heinous crimes, and niyata michya ditti, fixed wrong view. So if an individual performs any of these pancha anantariya kamma, what are the pancha anantariya kamma? Killing one's own mother, killing one's own father, killing an arahant, hurting the Buddha, resulting in shedding of blood of the Buddha, and creating a schism within the Sangha. That means creating some sort of division within the Sangha. These are the 5 anantariya kamma. Or having fixed wrong views. Now, if a person performs any of these, then what happens is immediately after the death, the next life will be, he or she will be born in a hell realm. So that is why we call it Michattaniyata. It will definitely happen. No kamma can cut off the effect of these pancha anantariya kamma. However, when it comes to fixed wrong view, that is different, because by the time that this person dies, if he changes his views and he has right views at the time of death, then he can reverse the effect. However, this pancha anantariya kamma, you can't reverse the result of it. It will definitely occur. So that's why they are called Michattaniyata Dhamma. They definitely give results, and the results are not what you expect. You do these actions expecting good results, but the result that you get is not something good, it's bad. For example, Prince Ajasatta, before he became king, he, in order to become king, what he did was he killed King Bimbisara, his own father. So as a result of this, even though he listened to Lord Buddha, he had developed faculties, and according to the commentaries, they say that he had developed faculties even to reach stream entry, to become a Sotapanna individual. But still, all of this was not achieved because he killed his own father. So that is why this pancha anantariya kamma is a very dangerous form of kamma, because no kamma, not even a Buddha, can free a person from these results. So there the results are immediately after the end of life. The next life, they will get the results. Now, what is the other form? Sammattaniyata Dhamma. We spoke of Sammattaniyata Dhamma, and those are the wholesome resultants. So, Sammattaniyata Dhamma are the karma, wholesome karma that gives rise to good results, and they definitely give results immediately after their existence. So, what are they? The four magga chitta. If an individual is able to acquire one of the four magga chittas, then immediately after the magga chitta in the cognitive process, in the chitta viti, the immediate next mind moment, the phala chitta or the fruition consciousness will arise. So immediately after the magga chitta, the result occurs, the phala chitta. That is sammatta niyata dhamma. But apart from that, here, under Uppādino Dhamma, they talk about another state. And these are the 8 attainments, the Atthasālinī. What are Atthasālinī and why are they classified here as having a constant result? Atthasālinī, or the 8 attainments, are the 4 Rūpāvachara and the 4 Arūpāvachara jhana chittas, kusala chittas. So if an individual is able to develop one of these jhanas or any number of jhanas, that individual is able to be born in the corresponding Rūpāvachara or Arūpāvachara plane. Now there's a catch here though. Now let's say an individual develops a certain jhana, but due to various reasons, maybe due to lust, he develops a lot of lobha chittas or a lot of dosa chittas, and he loses that jhana. Then by the time he reaches end of life, if he no longer can go into that jhana, then he will not be able to be born in a Brahma realm. He won't be able to be born in either the fine material or immaterial spheres because he has lost the jhana. So if a person wants to be born in a Brahma realm, they have to be very careful not to lose the jhana. They have to keep on practicing it so that they won't lose it. They have to make sure that they don't develop any hatred or any lust because these are nivarana. These are hindrances to jhanas, and people can, these individuals can lose those jhanas as a result. So that is why the Atthasālinī, even though they have a constant result, they are not fixed. They are not, that is why they're not, we didn't classify them under Sammattaniyata Dhamma. However, if a person is able to somehow maintain these jhanas right until their at the time of their death, and if they have not performed any of the pancha anantariya karma, and if they do not have any fixed wrong views, then they are able to be born in a Brahma realm. So a lot of conditions are being applied to this Atthasālinī, right? But still they have constant results. So here we spoke of 2 things. One, where the results were instantaneous. Those were the ones from the 4 magga chitta, because soon after the magga chitta passes away, the phala chitta arises. So they are instantaneous results. And the pancha anantariya karma, and if there is niyata miccha ditti at the end of life, then that also will give immediate results. Once that person dies, the next life they'll be born in a subhuman realm, in a hell realm. But all the other karmas that we have not spoken about, these can arise at any time in the future. There's no fixed time. However, the cause and effect, this causal relationship is there. So we call them potentially arising states. Now let's go back to our three terms. Uppanna Dhamma are the states that have arisen. Now let's take all of you. You're all listening to Dhamma. You all are reading slides which contain Dhamma. So when you hear Dhamma, that is ahetuka kusala vipaka sota vijnana chitta. Your ear consciousness is as a result of a wholesome action in the past. You're reading these slides containing Dhamma. So these are ahetuka kusala vipaka chakku vijnana chitta. You're seeing these good things, you're seeing this Dhamma because of good karma that you have done in the past. So these are Uppanna Dhamma, present Dhamma. And the karmas that you have done but have not given results yet, they are waiting to give results. In future, they are bound to arise. Those vipaka and the kammaja rupa are Uppādino Dhamma. So now we spoke about Uppanna Dhamma, Uppādino Dhamma. What are the Anuppanna Dhamma? Anuppanna Dhamma are the states that have not yet arisen. So they will arise in the future, or they may arise. You can't say that they will. They may arise in the future, but they haven't arisen yet. There is no causal relationship like in Uppādino Dhamma. So states that have not arisen are Anuppanna Dhamma. But remember, there's no causal relationship here. They may or may not arise. Not like Uppādino Dhamma, which has that energy that is going forth, and they are bound to arise in future. Now let's look at this last sentence. The path of Metteya, the future Buddha. So we know that the next Buddha will be Metteya Buddha, and the path that Metteya Buddha's Arahant path has not arisen yet. It is a Kusala Chitta. So we call it Anuppanna Dhamma. It hasn't arisen yet. However, once that Arahant path Chitta arises, it will have the energy for its fruition to arise. So then we call the fruition, the Phala Chitta, as a potentially arising state, as an Uppādino Dhamma, because there is a cause and effect relationship. So this is the description for Uppādino Dhamma. Uppādino Dhamma refers to the states that are bound to arise, that have potentially that have the potential to arise in the future. Now we come to the analytical states of Uppādino Dhamma, states that are bound to arise. So here we get 36 vipaka, resultants, 38 cetasika, mental factors, and 20 kammaja rupa, karma-bound matter. Now, if you take the kammaja rupa, we have the 9 ekanta kammaja rupa, which are the chakku, sota, gana, jivha, kaya, pasada rupa. And then we have the 2 bhava rupa, itti and purusa. Then we have jivitendriya, and we have hadevatu. So there we have 9 ekanta kammaja rupa. Then the anekanta kammaja rupa would be the shuddhastaka, that is patavi, apo, tejo, vayo, vanna, gandha, rasa, oja. There's 8 there. Then we have akasa rupa, that's 9. Then we have upachaya santati. So altogether 11. 11 plus 9 is 20. Now let's look at the Atthasālinī commentary chapter description of UppannaTika. Khatame Dhamma Uppanna, which are the states that have arisen. Chatusu bhumisu vipako. the resultants belonging to the four planes of existence. So what are the four planes? Kamavachara, Rupavachara, Arupavachara, and Apariyappanna. Yancha Rupam Kammasa Katatta. And that matter that is Kamma born. So here we are talking about the Kammaja Rupa. Ime Dhamma, Siya Uppanna, Siya Uppādino. These states can be stated as have arisen. Uppanna can be stated as bound to arise. Uppādino. So the Chatusu Bhumisu Vipako, the resultants belonging to four planes of existence. That means the 36 Vipakas and the Kammaja Rupa can be stated as Uppanna, and they can also be stated as Uppādino. Navatabba Anuppanna. They should not be stated as not arisen. So these Vipaka and the Kammaja Rupa, they can be classified under two terms, under Uppanna Dhamma and Uppādino Dhamma. But they should not be stated as Anuppanna. They should not be stated as states that have not arisen. Now, in this table, I have summarized what we mentioned under the previous description of the Atthakatha Khandha. So there we mentioned that the 36 Vipaka, the 38 Cetasika, and the 20 Kammaja Rupa are classified under Uppanna Dhamma and Uppādino Dhamma, and that they should not be stated as Anuppanna Dhamma. So this is the summary of the previous slide. Now let's look at the next paragraph in the Atthakatha Khandha. Chatusu bhumisu kusalang, akusalang, tisu bhumisu kiryabhya katang. Chatusu bhumisu kusalang, the wholesome states belonging to the four planes of existence. Akusalang, all unwholesome states. Tisu bhumisu kiryabhya katang, the functional indeterminate states of the three planes of existence, which are Kamavachara, Rupavachara, and Arupavachara. Yancha Rupam na Kammasa Katatta, and the matter that is not Kamma born. Now, in front of Kammasa Katatta, the word na is mentioned. Na means negating. That means we are taking the Rupa that is not Kamma born. So, we will be taking the Chittaja, Utuja, and Aharaja Rupa here. Ime Dhamma, these Dhammas, Siya Uppanna, Siya Anuppanna, can be stated as arisen, can be stated as not arisen. Navatabba Uppādinoti should not be stated as bound to arise. So now what we are talking about, all the states apart from the Vipaka and the Kammaja Rupa. So here we are talking about all the Kusala, 21 Kusala, all the Akusala, the 12 Akusala, the 20 Kriya, and the Rupa which are not Kammaja Rupa. So we are talking about Chittaja, Utuja, and Aharaja Rupa. These Dhammas can be stated as Uppanna, arisen. Can be stated as Anuppanna, not arisen. But they should not be stated as Uppādino. They should not be stated as bound to arise. Then the final sentence. Nibbānaṁ navattabbam Uppannang tipi Anuppannang tipi Uppādino tipi. Nibbana should not be stated as any of these terms. Nibbana is neither Uppanna, Anuppanna, nor Uppādino, because Nibbana does not have Utpada Titibhanga. There is no Atita, Pachuppanna, Anagata. So there is no time limitations for Nibbana, because it is not a Dhamma that arises or passes away. So for that reason, Nibbana is not does not fall under any of the three terms belonging to UppannaTika. Now let's look at this table. Now this table summarizes what we spoke of in the previous slide. So here we are talking about the 21 kusala, the 12 akusala, the 20 kriya, and the chetasika that arise together with these kusala, akusala, and kriya. And all the rupa that are not kammaja rupa. So here we are talking about 17 chittaja, 15 utuja, and 14 aharaja rupa. Now here, how we got these numbers 17, 15, and 14 is because we have included upachaya and santati to these rupa. So some texts don't mention upachaya and santati under these chittaja, utuja, and ahara. So you may see a discrepancy, a difference in the numbers. So here we have mentioned 17, 15, and 14. That is including upachaya and santati. And finally, nibbana cannot be classified under any of these three terms. So here this table shows that. Now let's put everything together. Now make note that I have reversed the three terms. I have put the second term, Anupanna Dhamma, first, Uppanna Dhamma, the first term in the middle column, and the third column is the third term, Uppādino Dhamma. The reason why I reversed it is because I could get this into a table format only by reversing it. Okay, so now look carefully, the first three lines. Under Uppanna Dhamma, the first term, and Uppādino Dhamma, the third term, we get the 36 vipaka and 38 chetasika, the 20 kammaja rupa. But we don't classify these Dhamma under Anuppanna Dhamma. Then coming to the next set, we classify the 21 kusala, 12 akusala, 20 kriya, 52 chetasika, the 17 chittaja rupa, 15 utuja rupa, and 14 aharuja rupa, both under both Anuppanna Dhamma and Uppanna Dhamma. But we don't classify them under Uppādino Dhamma. And finally, Nibbana is not classified under any of these three terms. With that, we come to the end of the UppannaTika. And as usual, we are going to leave you with the exercise to categorize the analytical states of UppannaTika, Arisen triplet, according to khandha, aggregates, āyatana, bases, dhātu, elements, and ariya, sacca, noble truths. We have time for a few questions. Right, so while you're gathering your thoughts to ask a few questions, I'm going to ask you a question. What is the difference between the second term, Anupanna Dhamma, states that have not arisen, and the third term, Uppādino Dhamma, states that are bound to arise? I'll give you a few minutes to think about it. Yes, we have an answer. Feni has answered. It's the causal relationship within the Tatya Pada, the third term. That is not existing in the Dutiya Pada, the second term. Yes. Good. So the difference between the second and third terms. When we speak of Anupanna Dhamma, we speak of states that have not arisen. But there is no cause and effect relationship that we are talking about when we speak of Anuppanna Dhamma. These Dhammas may or may not arise. There's no causal relationship there. However, when we speak of Uppādino Dhamma, states that are bound to arise, here there is a definite causal relationship. The cause is the kamma that has been generated. So the effect of that kamma, that energy is there. That energy will give results in the future. So even though both these terms, Anuppanna and Uppādino Dhamma, they refer to something in the future. There is a very clear difference here. Anuppanna Dhamma has no causal relationship, but Uppādino Dhamma has that cause and effect relationship. So that is the difference between these two terms. All right, in the absence of any questions, we'll conclude our lesson today. If you have any questions, please forward them to this email address, dhamma.acharini@gmail.com. Our next lesson will be next week on the 20th of July. And now it is time to share merits. I would like all of you to join me.
那现在呢，是我们一起呢将功德分享，请大家呢跟着老师一起呢做这个功德分享。
Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahittika puñyantaṃ anumoditva chiran rakkantu sāsanam chiran rakkantu desanam chiran rakkantu mamparam idam me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo idam me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo idam me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Idam me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Idam me punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu. Mama punya bhagam sabba sattanam bhajemi. Te sabbe me samang punya bhagam labantu. Buddhasasanang chirantiktatu, Buddhasasanang chirantiktatu, Buddhasasanang chirantiktatu, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
感恩老师，萨多
Thank you, Dr. Sadhu.